Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
You've seen Black Adam?
No, I haven't actually.
I don't think I'm ever gonna. No, I haven't seen it, but it just looks like arse. I've never seen a film that just looks so ugly without even having seen the film.
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of reviews and stuff, and a lot of like it just sounds like it's just like the most painfully generic thing.
Even if it was generic, like that's like whatever, like superhero film, whatever. It is every time I've done a screen check in there, it just looks so ugly. I don't like the way everything about the way it's shot is just so fucking ugly. Like I can't stand it. So it's kind of mad. I don't understand. There's just like no care put into how the film looks.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And this was like the Rock's
watching...
it's like the Rock's like passion project as well. Like if you're trying to like sort this out for like a decade or something, apparently.
Oh yeah, I don't have. He's probably been like on and off and done like looked at it like once a year. 10 years ago, so it's just like, but yeah, he ends up calling it that to make it like hype it up more.
All of that for this.
Yeah. Oh, I'll probably watch it at some point, but actually, no, that's probably not true. I've watched barely any DC movies. Just because I can't be bothered.
Was it James Gunn's the new like head, whatever, of DC? Do you see that?
I saw someone tweet being like, "What would you do if you were like the head of DC?" And James Gunn like replied to it, but I didn't realize that was because he's the new head. That's a good decision from them.
I think it's him and one other guy. Yeah, it's like they're like the Kevin Feige at Marvel kind of role, but at DC. So that could be interesting.
That'll take him in a good direction. Yeah, that'll take him in a good direction. I think because obviously he's probably made, from what I've seen, the best one so far.
Yeah, I really like Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I need to watch the Justice League like thingy, the director's cut, but I just can't be bothered to watch that for like 3.5 hours.
It's 4 hours. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I ever do that. I don't. Yeah, apparently it is like a significant improvement. I think that's what people were saying on the original cut, which I've seen, which is terrible. But then I don't know if it's 4 hours worth of improvement.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
mate. Like,
also, I haven't seen any of like Aquaman's or anything like that.
You ever seen Aquaman?
Nah,
Ned. I saw it once.
How many DC movies have I actually seen? I've seen Man of Steel like when it came out, so I don't remember it. Obviously Batman vs Superman, we saw that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I haven't watched it since then because I remember how bad it was.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched it either.
Obviously, I've seen The Suicide Squad, that was really good. That's one of my favorite films of last year, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen the first Wonder Woman. That was okay, I guess. That was alright, to be fair. That was fine.
That's the only one I've rewatched, I think. And I rewatched The Suicide Squad. Did I rewatch? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen Wonder Woman twice. I think I must have rewatched it like just before I saw the sequel. Yeah, I definitely did. But that's the thing. I never have any inclination to rewatch those films. I just see them once, like Batman vs Superman, whatever. They're just very dry. So maybe James Gunn will liven things up. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully anyway, for their sake.
What have you watched recently?
Outside of the podcast movies, I've been busy a lot recently. But hang on, what? I have to go to my letterbox to remind me. One sec.
I have a gander.
I watched. You know what? I haven't watched a film recently, but I've re-listened to "I Ain't Worried" by One Republic. And it's really catchy. I've got the whistle stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched. I
had that stuck in my head at work in the summer.
It's the whistle, isn't it though?
I was doing that for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been stuck in my head for like 2 weeks. It is a bit of a tune. What else have I
Yeah.
watched? I rewatched Jackass Forever. I think that's one of my favorite films of this year. It's so funny. Um, I didn't know this film existed as a Man United fan, but that United movie.
Is it a
Do you
movie?
know it? Yeah, it's a movie. It's about the Munich disaster.
Hmm.
Uh,
Is
but
anyone
it has
famous in it?
like David Tennant,
Uh,
Sam Claflin,
uh,
uh, yeah, among some other names that you might recognize. But yeah,
hmm.
I was really in the mood to watch Grease, so I watched that.
I watched that when she
And then
the week that she died.
when she died, yeah,
Hmm.
big. And
Hmm.
then for the first time I watched Requiem for a Dream, which was quite enjoyable. Well, I don't know
Enjoy.
if enjoyable is the right word, but it was good.
Hmm.
It was very good. What have you watched?
Bit of an assault on your senses. That film.
Yeah, yeah, it was
You
quite
should watch. You
overwhelming,
should
but
watch
in
You
a
should
good
watch
way.
Barbarian in cinema. Don't watch Black Adam. Watch Barbarian.
I wasn't planning on watching Black Adam, but
Yeah. No,
I might actually watch.
don't watch Black Adam. Watch
No,
Barbarian.
don't! I fucking
Yeah.
dare you! Don't.
I'm still not even
Barbarian.
sure.
Is that
I need to
horrible?
yeah, yeah. I need to rewatch it because I need to rewatch it to confirm exactly how I feel about it. But like, it's just so like interesting what it does. Like the structure of it and everything. It's just so interesting, even if you don't like it. It's so much fun. I need to rewatch it
It's
to
got
see
some
it.
pretty good ratings as well.
Yeah, because I came out, I was like, I'm not sure. It was like really cool and interesting. I wasn't sure if it like 100% worked without spoiling it. But so I want to go back and crystallize my thoughts. But
Might go watch it then.
it's definitely like the most one of the most interesting films to come out, I think, in the last few years. The head-to-head sibling rivalries. Whatever happened to Baby Jane versus East of Eden? Whatever happened to Baby Jane? A former child star torments her paraplegic sister in a decaying Hollywood mansion. It's one of the funniest little anecdotes. Is just probably too strong a word, but like just when I tried to first watch this film, it was like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I didn't realize that I watched it on Amazon, turned it on. I got like 20 minutes in. I was like, this doesn't seem right. Like this film has like a good reputation and stuff. It's in like the what do they call it? Like the heritage, the American heritage, whatever. You know the thing. It's always it says it on the Wikipedia page. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
national. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's yeah, historic importance, whatever. And I was 20 minutes into this film. I was like, this can't be the right thing. And then it clocked that it was the like TV movie version from like I can't remember like the 90s or something, which still had like it had Vanessa Redgrave in it, like an actual like serious actress.
Yeah.
But as I was watching it, it felt like the like Channel 5 style of movies, which we talked about. I say we talked about because me and Mason recorded the Bros podcast, Bros part of the podcast before.
Oh yeah.
We talked about there's like a running joke of that kind of Channel 5 movie at Christmas time. And yeah, that's how I was first like introduced to the world of whatever happened to Baby Jane. So watching the actual version this time, lot higher quality, black and white. I'll keep my thoughts to myself for a second, where I'll let you give your first impressions on the 1962 proper version of whatever happened to Baby Jane.
Um, I, I don't know how I feel about this film. I watched it yesterday, but I feel like it still hasn't like marinated in my mind. Like I need like first impressions. I wasn't like like bearing in mind. I think when you look at a film you haven't seen before and you look at the ratings and stuff, and when it's got it's rocking an 8 on IMDb and like 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, that kind of stuff, you have high expectations, and I think um it was good, but I think maybe hasn't aged well or something. I don't know, but like I think like the performances for me, like the Bette Davis one was it was quite like over the top and dramatic, but maybe that's just like the way it's aged, like because I think she won an Oscar for that. But for me, it wasn't like the incredible film that I wanted it to be, and that kind of had potential to be, I think. And I think the twist as well at the end, that kind of what happened all along with the hitting who hit who with the car, I think didn't hit in the same way that it might have someone else. I don't know why. I was enjoying it at like a certain amount, but I think for me I don't know, maybe it had something missing. I can't like quite put my finger on it, but it's yeah.
It definitely wasn't what I was expecting, this film, as it kind of went along. Like, I don't know what exactly I thought this story was going to be about. Like, I knew it was kind of involving like a faded Hollywood, or like at least one faded Hollywood actress, and then the other one, she was like a child vaudeville star, whatever. So it had those kind of themes of like aging and like falling away from the spotlight and stuff. So I knew that all that was going to go down. I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be as evil and twisted and weird and fucked up and generally just a bit, generally just a bit like perverse in a lot of the parts of the film. So it definitely defied my expectations, and I wasn't. Yeah, I was kind of. I feel like I was on your wavelength for like half of the film, maybe a bit further along. I think it takes a while to get into a rhythm, this film, but once it did, every kind of clicked into gear for me, and I was kind of all on board. And I was all in on her, Betty Davis's macabre, histrionic performance and everything. I was kind of all in on her, all in on the tone. By the end of it, I was like fully gripped with the actual like storyline of her like trying to get away with. Well, not even, she's not even trying to get away. She's just like, guess somewhat she's trying to get away, like subconsciously, but like just the various things that she's trying to get away with in the story and everything like that. So I was kind of all in, and I was gripped, and it became more of a thriller by the end for me. So yeah, I really by the end I really liked it, and I don't know. Yeah, this kind of I'm still kind of shocked about what this film actually is compared to what I thought it would be going in. So yeah, I guess we got an interesting discussion points to proceed with. All right, East of Eden. Two brothers in 1910s California struggle to maintain their strict Bible-toting father's favor as an old secret about their long-absent mother comes to light. This one, bit different, bit more traditional in terms of the plot and everything like that. What do you think of East of Eden?
So this one was the more enjoyable of the two for me. I think. Well, I don't know if the other one's meant to be enjoyable, but it's just like the overall watch. I was like more enjoyable for me, and I think was overall a better movie for me. This one. And I think for a while I've been meaning to watch like any James Dean movie. I just wanted to kind of watch one, but it came to like watching this on the podcast for me to actually end up doing it, and I can see why he's such like an icon just from this performance. Because obviously I think this came out like this was the last one that came out before he died. Then you had two more after he died or something like that. Like they only had a few like big performances, but you can see just from this how good he really was. And I think there's performances all rounds from like the dad and like Aaron and Abba as well that are really good in this movie. And I think the kind of it's like I don't relate to James Dean's character like Cal. I don't relate to him, but for some reason I get the feeling that I do from watching this, even though I don't, if you know what I mean. It's a weird one, but it's I don't know, it's hard to put, and I said this for the last one, but again I'm saying it, like, it's hard to put a finger on like how I really feel about it, but I did like enjoy it a lot, and kind of watching these relationships like change and grow throughout the movie, and watching Cal kind of be rejected at when he at every turn, like when he's trying to impress and whatnot. It makes you really like kind of want Cal to do well and be there for him, and what, like, you know, when you watch it, you can tell like he actually is a good kid that works hard, and but it, like, he wants to do good in most like aspects, but it's just quite a sad watch as well, because his dad just kind of doesn't want him to be. And I think that speech at the end where he's saying, "You don't like me because I'm like mum," it's really, really well done. Like, it all building up to kind of that moment and everything that happens after that as well. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, this one.
Yeah, I feel like I need to read about James Dean to fully understand why even before I was into film, I knew I knew the name James Dean, despite him only like appearing in a handful of films in the 1950s, dying aged, was he like maybe like 24 or something like that?
24, I think.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Despite that, like he became just like such an iconic figure. Kind of, I guess, like, but not really any comparison in terms of someone with like such a small body of work, like becoming as much of an icon. Like you have like people like Tupac and Biggie, who also died like very young in their like early 20s. But I feel like even they had like more like a body of work, like they'd been active for like more years. I feel like, so it's kind of wild. So I need to really like, read up on like exactly how that happened. And I've heard like read his Wikipedia page maybe once and forgotten a lot of stuff. I need to like read something more comprehensive. But I'd seen Rebel Without a Cause last year, and yeah, like similar to like, you watching him in this film, straight away you're like, okay, there's something there. You can see there's something like magnetic and special about this kid, the way he acts. And it's also here. I think there's like no one who can do his like, I don't like, it always could be bad. Like if you like tipped like a little bit further, like in the wrong direction, it could be a bad performance. But he manages to just like straddle that line perfectly and deliver something that's very like emotional and powerful. It gets across, yeah, this through line in the film of him trying to gain his father's approval and also reconnect with his mum and everything like that. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It's really solid film. I know I was looking on the Wikipedia page for this. It was like DiCaprio. DiCaprio said this was like the film that got him into movies or something like that, something along them lines, or maybe got him into acting, inspired him in some way or another. I can see why. It's a very accomplished, satisfying piece of work.
Yeah.
All right. Categories. So performances already touched. I think like the performances in these two films are kind of so essential to like the discussion of the films overall. Because yeah, like we said, with James Dean being such an icon, and then yeah, Betty Davis. It's kind of like if you're on board with it, then you're more likely to appreciate what's going on in that film. Whereas if you're averse to the kind of melodramatic nature of her performance, it might turn you off a bit. So yeah, performances are key, I think, with these two films. And I think I'm really quite taken with the Betty Davis performance. I don't know. I feel like the way my opinion of her fluctuated throughout the film, to where I was like, oh, you fucking bitch. Why are you so like mean to your sister? Like, what the hell? This is like so brutal. But there was still like several points where I was like, I felt sympathy for her and how she lost her stardom and she's missing her dad and everything like that, and what that could do to a person to be like beloved and then just kind of rejected by the public later on. So the fact that I was able to have those moments of sympathy for her in amongst all these other feelings towards the pure evil shit that she was doing against her sister. For that reason, I was really quite struck by what she was able to do in this performance. I'm gonna go for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane for performances based on that alone. I think Joan Crawford, she doesn't have as much to do. She's just kind of solid, and the rest of the supporting cast are just kind of fine. Nothing too remarkable. I think maybe even East of Eden has like more impressive performances across the board, but I think the strength of Betty Davis's performance is what's gonna tilt it for me. But James Dean, just the anguish that he gets into his performances, like it's obviously very like it's the hallmarks of kind of like what Brando was doing around this time as well. The stuff that he puts into his performance. But yeah, the anguish that he gets across is it's definitely impressive. But I'm going for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane for performances. What about you?
I mean, Betty Davis, as I said, I kind of touched on it earlier. It's very over the top. But I can't figure out like whether I think in a good way or not. Like, at the moment, I'm swaying towards not. But it's a hard one though. But because I do get those feelings of like, you are like, you fucking bitch. Like, when I was watching it, it's like, why is she being such a twat? You know, like, and you really do feel sorry for like Joan Crawford's character as well. And I think she does well with that. Although I think it's just kind of because there is that Betty Davis performance there, which is so like in your face. It kind of very much overshadows Joan Crawford and what she's doing. As well, and I think that there's no stand-up supporting performances as well. But with East of Eden, I think everyone works together very well, and you've got 4 kind of main performances there that are all very good. And I think especially, you know, James Dean and the dad as well. I think they both kind of make this movie like work so well. And James Dean, like it kind of reminded me of like what kind of Casey Affleck did in Manchester by the Sea, just like made you really feel for him and feel the emotions for him. And I think that's like quite like a special thing to do. So and yeah, for that reason, I think because of all the supporting ones being so much stronger as well, I'm gonna go for East of Eden.
All right, that's what did we say we do when we're in a straw? Yeah, they both they both get point. They both get points. Yeah. They both get points. Yes. All right. So that's 1-1 story. This one I will go for East of Eden. So I think whatever happened to Baby Jane. Now I'm just gonna, rather than saying the whole title because it's annoying me, I'm just gonna say Baby Jane. Yeah. In Baby Jane, they like I said earlier, it's kind of the pacing's can be a bit off. I think it's a bit slow to get going. It's more about the central performance and the kind of horror elements, the thriller elements, the black comedy of it. That has the appeal for me, rather than anything in terms of the nature of the story, which admittedly can drag in certain points, definitely at the beginning, and then even patches in the middle. Like it's definitely an overly long film for what it is. I think it was like 2 hours, 15 minutes. So that's a drawback for that. With East of Eden's coherent, solid, like just follow just the like it's never not compelling watching James Dean try to gain favor with his dad and how he deals with rejection, trying to reconnect with his mum and everything like that, and the conversations they share. It's never not interesting to me, and the dynamic as well with his brother and his brother's girlfriend as they grow closer together as well. It was another interesting layer to the story. So yeah, East of Eden's got my story vote. What are you saying?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think East of Eden just has more to it. It has more kind of grip within the story. I think whatever happened to I'm gonna do what you're doing to call it Baby Jane. I think Baby Jane it has a decent kind of story to it, but the story is like very simple within what it is, and it's mainly focused on like kind of the performances and how crazy, like how far can Baby Jane actually go with this. And I think that's what that's kind of more about. And then as I said, like the twist at the end about what actually happened, it didn't like hit that like maybe as much as I thought it should have, or like as it should have, sorry. Whereas East of Eden, it's like he's constantly doing stuff to impress his dad, and he's constantly doing different things and trying to get on his father's side, and he will just never be as good as Aaron. And then within that, you've got his relationship with his mum and how that evolves, and kind of what she does for him, and then it all builds up to like James Dean's character just like breaking down at the end, and what stuff that happens with the dad after that, and kind of what happens with Aaron after that. And I think it all kind of has a better build up to a better ending, I think. So I think East of Eden will get my vote for that, definitely.
Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. Like you said about the twist in Baby Jane. Yeah, that didn't hit for me. Like that didn't feel like it was like a big revelation, but it didn't feel that important in the wider context of the story for me. Like that, so like the idea that Blanche didn't need to be carrying around this like guilt the whole time, but like she was still like lashing out against her sister and like tormenting her anyway, despite having the guilt over thinking that she paralyzed her. Like that, like so the fact that she didn't need to feel that guilt, like what would she have acted differently? Otherwise, like I don't like I don't know. It's a bit. It's kind of weird. Like, why would that change anything? She was still like a complete bitch to her sister. But she thought that she paralyzed her. So the fact that she did, it was her sister who was trying to remove her from the picture. How would that have changed her behavior? And yeah, it didn't feel. It wasn't like that wasn't. That wasn't the thing that I was waiting to find out about in the film.
Yeah,
more the kind of the journey, the psychological thriller, and the journey that they're going on. So yeah, okay. So East of Eden goes 2-1 up off the story, visual style. I was thinking about this, but after I finished watching Baby Jane last night, I think for me this is like the richest example of two films we've had in the head-to-head in terms of like the visuals of it and the way it looks. Like I don't think of another example of two films completely different. Literally, one's in black and white, one's in color, one's widescreen, one's kind of dimly lit and lots of like contrast and stuff and everything like that. They're completely different in terms of how the cinematography and how they look and how it's shot and everything, but both distinct, both very interesting, that fit the kind of narrative. So I thought it's really good opportunity for discussion and debate. And I was trying to think. I haven't really decided where I'm gonna go, because I do like there are certain moments of Baby Jane that I just think are really effective in terms of how they use the lion in this like dark kind of ominous house that they're living in. Like there's one bit where she's doing like some kind of like monologue that she must have performed when she was a child star, and she's like in in the living room, kind of like, she's in the dark, and she just looks so like. That's the other thing about the way they shoot it, to make her like Betty Davis look so like haggard and disheveled throughout. In this particular scene where she's delivering this monologue, she just looks this exceptionally crazy. And then there's a moment where she kind of like steps into the light above her, and everything about the way that's executed was really, really cool for me. And just the way they kind of shoot like the like the dimensions of the house and like the camera going up the stairs and everything like that, I thought was nice. But East of Eden, just slick, very crisp, very sharp. Some good points where they like kind of tilt the camera that I like to show like the kind of the house, like this family kind of falling apart kind of thing. That I thought was really, really nice. And even the opening to East of Eden, was really effective. Like him, we joined the story as he's kind of tracking this woman dressed in all black, not knowing what's going on, what the intentions are, and everything like that. The way that's shot, the kind of the way the camera follows her and follows him, tracking her, was all nice stuff. So you know what, I'm gonna throw it over to you, and maybe I'll make my decision later on where I'm gonna go, because I really like the two respective visual styles for these films. What do you think?
Yeah, they're both very, very strong in what they do. I think as well, you got like East of Eden really puts you in that like almost like post Wild West kind of America, and how like they were kind of dealing with the war and stuff. And I think it really the visual style really helps with, and like the setting and whatnot really helps with that kind of environment and feeling towards it. And yeah, it's got some really nice shots in it, and the way they do deal with kind of different situations and like some big wide pans as well. But I think whatever happened to Baby Jane, I think maybe the fact that it is a psychological thriller it kind of gives it more. It gives you more freedom, I think, with what you can do with it, and I think the things they do with it, as you say, like making Blanche look really like decrepit and that kind of stuff, as like it does. It works well. Kind of the darkness around the horizon, like how the camera gets quite dark as well. It does well with that and dealing with that, and I think some like more creative shots as well, almost. Like when Blanche kind of goes crazy, she's spinning in circles, and suddenly you get like a bird's eye of it, of her just spinning in circles, and you kind of almost the mentalness of it, kind of it comes in with the camera style and what the camera's doing. So I think for that reason, I am going to go with Baby Jane.
Yeah, you know what? I think you've convinced me. I'm going to go Baby Jane as well. But I do really appreciate the way Easter Eden is shot. There's something about that kind of cinematography in like the 50s and 60s old Hollywood, when they would like first like introducing like the CinemaScope and all that kind of stuff, that Technicolor, that is just really cool, really luscious. But yeah, that's Baby Jane is a fair shot. It's good. There's good stuff in there. Okay, that will make it 2-2, I believe, as we go into tone. This is where Baby Jane takes it for me. Like I've kind of talked about before, like the wild journey of it and the different elements of genre that it incorporates in terms of being like a black comedy, a horror film, a real like propulsive thriller by the end, and that the elements of murder and death and anguish and drama and everything about it's just like infused into this kind of mad cocktail of a story. And it was really effective. Once it got going and we were kind of flitting between these different tones, I was hooked on it. So even though East of Eden is still like a very compelling, solid drama, and I enjoyed watching it. It was quite a fun watch, actually. I don't know why, but there's something some fun to be had with that tale. But yeah, I'm going for Baby Jane for tone. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, East of Eden, it does kind of have like, I think the tone changes more throughout the movie, and like when he's with Abba, it's got this kind of, it's like quite like a comforting almost tone. But then when he is with the dad, or it's like a more kind of, you really feel like uncomfortable for him. Then with the mum, it's almost like a on edge kind of feeling. So it changed. I like the way that does change depending on who he's with and the different dynamics between the different characters. And that, I think that is quite a strong aspect of that. But I think with Baby Jane, though, you do have this kind of feeling throughout, like just not knowing what's going to happen next. Almost, you don't know how far Baby Jane really is going to go with everything, and what she's going to do to Blanche, and that almost gives you like a uneasy kind of on edge feeling as well. So yeah, I think for that reason, I'm gonna go with Baby Jane.
No, I realized I've been referring to Blanche when I'm meant to talk about Jane, which is going to be fucking annoying now. If I have to go back and edit to say Jane and put it over when I mistakenly said Blanche, it's gonna be kind of annoying.
Oh well.
Yeah. So
I know what you mean.
That's a is that 4-2? No, 3-2. It's 3-2. 3-2 to Baby Jane.
3-2, yeah.
It was just 2-2. I will say, since I'm meant to talk about Jane and not Blanche earlier on, when I was talking about how like haggard and disheveled she looked at everything, the one bit where Blanche actually does look like that to me, and it was fucking gross. Like I've been on the beach, her eyes, her like the bags under her eyes when she's laying on the beach. I've never seen bags as like rough. And like I don't even know.
Me of in SpongeBob, the chocolate lady.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That like that weird like worm lady. It looked like her.
Yeah. Like it's like he's got like caterpillars underneath her eyes, just so
Yeah.
rough and yeah, I don't like it. All right, moving on. 3-2 to Baby Jane. I haven't even got a unique character, you know. I was trying to think. I literally could not think of a single thing.
They're quite different, aren't they? There's not really much you can.
Like the best. There's not.
Could just leave it there.
It's like who are the better siblings? Like one literally tried to murder them, the other one. So even though I know James Dean and my guy they have some problems. It's that it's not as deep as these two fucked up women here. So I don't know. Yeah, should we just leave? We could just leave it in a
Could just leave it, yeah.
a head-to-head first. So well, we couldn't think of anything. Like, well, why trying to force it? Like,
I think they're too different to kind of compare in that kind of way.
I don't know. What's the better film? What do you think is the better film?
Oh, I think I enjoyed I think East of Eden is just a more complete movie, as you say, with the stories, with the performances. I think Baby Jane, it has a bit in the, I don't know, it's too long. I think Baby Jane, it definitely, because East of Eden's what, like half hour shorter, I think, something like that, or no, I think it's only 15 minutes, whatever. But Baby Jane probably could have been 1 hour 45 instead of 2 hours 15, if you know what I mean. I like the bit at the start where she's young. I think that's quite a strong bit, and I did enjoy that. Everything that happens between that and kind of Jane going completely insane, it takes too long to kind of build up, and there's a lot of stuff you maybe don't need as much, maybe, I don't know, or stuff that could have happened quicker anyway. And I think, yeah, I think for a film like that, Baby Jane maybe did have to, but then I think East of Eden, it's just so complete and moves so like nicely, and kind of, as I say, like you the different feelings you get with different characters, and how does kind of like he completely change, because he's very like closed off person, but how he completely changes when he is with Abra, and like she like slowly makes him feel more comfortable throughout the movie, and you can like see that within him and how he like changes and grows throughout the movie as well. Like as he basically goes from like boy to man throughout the movie. So yeah, I think East of Eden for me is the more complete and like better movie.
yeah, I reckon I have to go along with that. You know, this the overall product. Even though Baby Jane I think had more personality, I reckon yeah, East of Eden's the superior film. But in that case, I guess it's 3-3. It's a little draw.
That's fair. We take that.
As Eric Bailly comes off injured again for Marseille, as per. Do you think Abra's?
Shock.
What do you think? Do you think Abra's short for abracadabra?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what else to be short for. Maybe Abra Good Day. I don't know, something like
that. Abraham, Abra.
Abraham.
That's weird. That's not a normal name, is it? Maybe is it like playing with? Because obviously it's based on the Bible story, Cain and Abel. Like, is there a girl in that has like a girl's name?
I think they all have names because I can't remember what the Bible story is, but they all have names that start with the same letter. I know that much.
Yeah, it's because Cain and Abel, and then was it Aaron and what's James Dean Cow?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Cow.
There's probably not a girl. There's probably not a girl in a Bible story like that. So I don't know.
No, but with these movies, you always gotta have a love interest.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's based on that. It's just a bit of a weird name. I've never heard of it.
Says here that Abra's a Pokemon. Maybe she's named after that.
Imagine. Or the Pokemon thing's named after this character from East of Eden, this girl from East of Eden. I thought that's the same Pokemon thing. I just googled it. Was it? It looks like a cat. No, like a fox. Kind of weird, like mutant fox thing. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I have no idea. It is the first generation Pokemon though, so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it actually evolves to Kadabra, so who knew?
Oh, mad.
Is Abra a biblical name? Yeah, Abra is a biblical name.
Oh, okay. Fair. Won't cuss her then.
It means lesson in Arabic.
I don't think she was that great. I don't think her performance was that amazing. Not gonna lie.
No, it's not as good as the others. It's
yeah,
good, but it's not as good as
Yeah. I didn't really understand like her intentions, and it seemed like it shifted fairly quickly from like disgust towards Cal to this kind of weird affection. I wasn't.
Yeah, but then even when she was on his side, she still said she's scared of him. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't buying it. But it's irrelevant now. It's 3-3 finishes head to head.
All right, the game.
Where's
online I've just found a random horror movie trivia questions and answers quiz. There you go.
Horror movie? Why? Because you think Bros is scary just because it's two gay characters?
Yeah, I'm just terrified. That's why I haven't seen it. I'm just scared. I can't. Fucking gays, right? Horror. It's a multiple choice one. Let's see if you can answer it without the multiple choice. And if you get stuck, you can use the multiple choice. How about that?
Naughty.
Stick that in your iPod and shuffle it. Right, okay.
Yeah.
First question. It's 15 questions. First question. Which classic horror movie was originally titled The Babysitter Murders?
Halloween.
I'll tell you at the end if they're right or not. That's annoying.
Oh, that's annoying.
Should I find a different quiz?
Yeah, that'd be quite annoying. Do all the questions.
Yeah,
I mean, we could go back.
Oh, and see what we get afterwards. Okay, no, it's fine.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah.
Okay. What color is Freddy Krueger's iconic sweater?
It's like red and dark green, isn't it? I think.
Let's go red and green. That is an option. Okay. Jason Voorhees. Why can't I say that fucking hell? Voorhees. Fuck it. Why can't I? Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees.
I accidentally kept saying he's instead of he's. I don't know why. Like in my mind, I was like, say he's, but out of my mouth was going he's. Jason Voorhees is a synonymous. Jason Voorhees is
Jason Voorhees is the mummus
with the Friday the 13th franchise. But how many victims does he notch up in the first movie? How many victims does he nosh off in the first movie?
That's a trick question because he doesn't kill anyone in the first movie. It's 0.
Okay, let's go 0. The Exorcist had a troubled production with several crew members passing during the filming. How many deaths were associated with the total production? With the production in total?
Wait, people died? I thought you meant passing out. They died. People passed away.
Several crew members passing during filming. How many deaths were associated with the production in total?
What the hell? How did I not know that?
Yeah, I'll give you the multiple choice for this one because it goes 3, 6, 9, 12.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna say 6.
Let's go 6.
I wonder how they died. Why they died? Oh.
Yeah. Didn't. I think yeah. I need to look up that because I knew about that. Like that, loads of people died, but I don't know like why or how.
We did that film at uni last year. I feel like I must have talked about that. All right. That's your homework.
It's my homework. There's probably a documentary about somewhere.
Oh yeah, there is. Apparently, really good.
Number 5. Rosemary's Baby is primarily set in an apartment building known by which of the following names? Let's see if you know.
Remember which of the following names? I've seen that once. It's really good. No, I won't remember the name of the building.
The names are you got the Brodsky, the Brockwith, the Branson, or the Bramford.
Guess the Branson.
Branson. Number 6. Which of the following was the first horror movie to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars?
That would be The Exorcist, isn't it?
That is an option.
Yeah.
Leatherface, one of horror's most iconic agonists, was famously wielded which of these weapons?
The chainsaw. Texas chainsaw.
That does make sense. Yeah. Which of the following movies was not based on a novel by Stephen King? Okay, you need the options for this one.
No, I don't need the options. I don't need the option. No.
Let me name every horror movie ever not made by Stephen King. See if I get it. The Dead Zone, Children of the Corn, Saw, or Maximum Overdrive.
You say Saw?
Saw.
Yeah,
that chainsaw without the chain.
That's the answer then. Yeah. So surely Saw wasn't written by Stephen King.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise encompasses how many different movies?
Well, I reckon. Do you think this quiz is up to date? Do you reckon it includes the latest one?
When was this made? It was made in 2022, so yeah. It was made for this
right,
Halloween.
this Halloween. Right, okay. I mean, I'm saying that as if I have any idea how many films there are. It would make a difference. But does that include the most recent one? I'm gonna guess 11. Is that an option?
We got 3, 5, 7, 9.
Oh. Okay.
So, I can put 11, but it'll be wrong.
9.
9. Okay. Which of the following is the name of the camp where Friday the 13th antagonist Jason Voorhees drowned? I'll see if you know it.
Is it Camp Crystal Lake? Or is that something else?
Well, that is an option. So
yes, okay, it must be Camp Crystal Lake.
Which of the following horror movies first saw life as a video game? Oh, right, I see. Which of the following horror movies first saw life as a video game? Resident Evil, Silent Hill, House of the Dead, all of the above.
Well, Resident Evil definitely. The other two I haven't heard of. I've heard of Silent Hill, but I don't have no idea what it is or whether it's a game or not. You know what? All of the above. Guess.
All the above. Okay. I can tell you now that Silent Hill is a game, so you're probably right.
Right. Okay.
Question number 12. Michael Myers' iconic mask first seen in Halloween was actually based off a mold of which famous actor's face?
William Shatner. Everyone knows
William
this.
Shat Your Pants. There we go. Question number 13. Danny is warned to stay away from which of the following hotel rooms in The Shining?
237.
Oh, that is an option. Which of the following horror movie franchises has the longest total runtime? Let's see if you can guess. Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Child's Play, or Friday the 13th?
Halloween.
Okay. And the final question, number 15, is name every horror movie ever. Okay, number 15. Do you like scary movies? Is a quote from which film?
Scream. You know what's funny? The other day in the cabin group chat when Jay put like a GIF of a Ghostface from Scream. Yeah. And then I just saw Mason deleted it. It's because obviously he has a phobia of the mask.
Oh, yeah.
He just quietly deleted it. Didn't say anything. Yeah.
Okay, so you scored 12 out of 15. What'd you get wrong? You got The Exorcist. How many deaths were involved? You got that one wrong. You put 6, and the answer was 9. Quite interesting. You got the next question wrong as well. Rosemary's Baby is primarily set in an apartment building known by which of the following names? You put the Branson. The answer was the Bramford.
Yeah. Son's come off injured. Nice. Hopefully he's injured for a while.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully he's at the World Cup.
Actually, don't mind him playing with the World Cup. Hopefully he just misses their next 2 games.
Yeah, hopefully. And they got Chelsea on the weekend.
Liverpool. We got Chelsea.
Liverpool. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
And the last one you got wrong was which of the following horror movie franchises has the total longest runtime? You put Halloween, and the answer was Friday the 13th.
Oh.
I don't know how they fit how they made that film so long, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Hey guys, it's Bobby Lieber coming to you from the future home of the LGBTQ+ Museum. Everyone is really excited and totally getting along.
This happens to be Bisexual Awareness Week, and no one has acknowledged it.
Lesbian History Month was in March. Nobody said a goddamn thing.
Of course, lesbians get a month and we get a week.
So what's happening? Didn't you guys have an announcement?
This is a little unexpected, but we are in a throuple situation.
You're in a throuple? Let me tell you what's progressive now. Being alone. I love my life. I love my freedom. I love my independence. That's kind of sad. That I don't want to be in a throuple. I don't even want to be in a couple.
Bobby, I had sex with that 65-year-old.
Jesus, he's ripped.
I know, it's like they injected steroids into Dumbledore. Oh my God, that's Aaron. He's very hot.
Gay guys are so stupid.
I know. But we've been smart enough to brand ourselves as being smart.
It's our little secret.
You met a guy?
I don't think I'm his type. He's like gay Tom Brady. What are you into? One of these ripped idiots with no opinions?
No, I'd like someone who's physically very frail and won't stop talking.
And I bet he's as intimidated by you as you are by him.
I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, I can do whenever and I can do whatever.
Cool, whatever, whenever. GIF of Michael Scott dancing.
Office GIF? This person isn't gay.
I need you to be honest with me.
You like these rowy, meathead idiots. Oh, they're fighting. You like that? Hey. I can be tough like your boys. Oh, that's what you like, huh? Oh,
hey, what's going on?
Oh, that's cool. My bad.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride!
Now I have to go to a Pride party and you're both too old to be in the pool. Please leave.
People are threatening to boycott the museum.
You can't say Lincoln was gay.
And if we don't do this, we're letting the heterosexual terrorists win.
There are trans terrorists too. Caitlyn Jenner.
You're so different from me. You're very intense.
I like to keep things chill.
I can be chill.
Just like a manly man.
Sup? Sup?
I got you.
Yeah. You gonna need some help here.
Hey, I'm gonna need some help here, bro.
What is going on with you?
My whole life, I prided myself on being self-reliant, but this guy has gone into my head.
Maybe you're both bottoms and that's the problem.
Bottom dead.
Gay sex was more fun when straight people were uncomfortable with it.
Oh my God, do you guys remember straight people?
Yeah, they had a nice run.
Bros. Two men with commitment problems attempt a relationship. Succinct, to the point. Gets across what we're going for here. Some other stuff to talk about, but that's the prevailing plot point in this film. Yeah, bros. Not gonna lie, I'm not sure if I was excited. But I should have been more excited to see one of these films from like Apatow kind of comedy films. I've never seen any of those in cinema. Obviously, I haven't seen King of Staten Island, but I went straight to streaming pretty much, and that came out a couple of years ago. But obviously, like getting Sarah Marshall, Bad Neighbors, that's two of the previous films from this director, like some of the funniest films of all time. So I should have been more hyped, I reckon, for this to come out. But when I was sat there in the cinema, just banged, just funny. There was at least a laugh out loud joke every 2 minutes, I reckon, in this film. I was just sat there like, yeah, this is very satisfying. It's delivering on every level. Before we even talk about like the significance of this film and the themes and whatever, just as a comedy, if I can deliver. Mason, what are your first impressions of Bros?
Yeah, like you said, before we just delve into all like the actual meaning behind the film and how important it is, just as a comedy, like on the surface, it is just really funny. Like I spoke to Jay about it today on the phone, and there's just so many scenes already that feel very memorable. That when we talk about films like Bridesmaids, like the scene when they shit themselves or her on the plane, the main character, I feel like this film will have a few moments like that. Like when him and the mother-in-law are eating dinner and they keep drinking, like sipping the wine and carrying on the conversation. I think there's already moments where they'll be spoken about and you'll kind of like laugh with your friends about it. And that's when you know you've watched a good comedy, because some comedies might just be funny for a bit. Like I watched, what's it called? The one with all the dads. Oh my God. I watched it for the first time the other day.
All the dads?
Yeah, it's all loads of dads. They used to be on a basketball team together.
Oh, what, grown-ups?
Yeah, I watched Grown Ups for the first time, like last weekend. And to me, that wasn't really as memorable as this film was already. And obviously, I don't know if you sort of unlock a few more jokes. Like if you are gay, you can kind of like laugh at certain things more. But I guess it's kind of interesting to have a different perspective from you as well, because there's some stuff I thought you maybe wouldn't understand or wouldn't find funny. But if you're saying you laugh at every 2 minutes, then clearly it's accessible for everyone. So yeah, there's definitely loads to speak about for this film.
I kind of want to rewatch it at home so I can like take notes, because I'm trying to. But there was at the time, as I was coming out, I was like, I really want to remember some of the key jokes so I can recite them on the podcast. Now it's kind of hard to remember. The ones that stand out is like the like physical. Whenever they use sex scenes as a punchline in the film, I feel like it happens like 3 or 4 times. Every single time it delivers. Like when it might be after their first date, when they go to like he's fucking like a husband of someone rich or someone him and his boyfriend or something like that, go back to his house, and it looks like it's like an intimate moment between Billy Eichner and the guy, and then it pans down and the 2 other guys are like involved. Anytime they use every time they use a sex scene as the punchline, it was always funny. But beyond that, there's some of the dialogue and everything like that. There was other moments that you might be able to recall that was also creasing that. But it's quite crazy to me how bad this film was done, and I'm not sure like why. Because I didn't even pay attention. Like, I think it came out in America like a month ago. I listened to a podcast about it at the time. It's like, yeah, solid rom-com, standard fare kind of thing. We'll talk about that later as well, how it's kind of like follows the rom-com formula, and that's kind of what I'm into. That's one of the strengths for me. But like, yeah, I didn't read anything about how it did at the box office and stuff. But then until I watched it the other day, it came out in the UK the other day, and it's made like 10 mil or something on a $20 million budget, which is like fucking insane for a studio comedy. And you compare it to what this director's previous films done, and similar films in this vein have made. So I'm not sure, and I don't know if it's because they've marketed it, or maybe people, I don't know if it's because, I don't think it's because the audience is intolerant. I don't think that's what it is. I'm not sure. Maybe that's like an element of it, but maybe it's just they thought, oh, it's going to be more like preachy and it's going to try to teach me a lesson, and it's like, oh yeah, it's not actually going to be funny. It's just significant because it's the first like big studio LGBTQ film. So yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. I'm curious to see why it's not resonated with people. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because ultimately, it's just a funny rom-com. Like, it delivers on every level, and I feel like if people went and saw it, they'd enjoy it. And I feel like it should do well on streaming when it eventually comes.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I think when it comes to streaming, when people are just scrolling through, they will eventually watch it. Or maybe when you start seeing clips on Twitter, you'll be like, "Oh, this is funny. I actually want to watch that film." Whereas, yeah, it might not be the most accessible film if you're just kind of looking at the promotion of it and everything like that, because it was, like you said, it seemed to be hyped up quite a lot as being this first LGBT like rom-com. You might have a lot of people that think that's just what all the film will be about, when it's not. And I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this film, is that it's quite refreshing to watch like an LGBT film that isn't always about AIDS or people dying and stuff like that. Like, it's actually quite refreshing. I think Billy Eichner even says something like that in the film, where he says he kind of makes a joke about obviously straight men always playing gay guys just to win the Oscar, and then there always needs to be a sad ending because there's no like happy ending for the gay community. But this film, I think, it's just quite refreshing, like I just said. So there is a happy ending, but also they touch on like the AIDS crisis and stuff, but for only like 1 minute, when they go into the older guy's house, and then he's like, oh, like most of the people in that picture are dead, and then he's like, oh, I'm really sorry, and that's all they say. Where I think that's better than like a whole educational section of telling us about AIDS and how depressing it is, or if I don't know if they gave one of the main characters AIDS, that would detract from the comedy. Whereas this finds a good balance of being a rom-com, but also educating where it needs to, and just in a more of a roundabout way, instead of being like, you need to learn this right now at this moment of the film. It's kind of like you kind of finish the film and you've learned and you've got a more of a journey instead of it just being rammed down your throat.
It's actually interesting you talk about, yeah, the idea of often in cinema, like LGBT stories ending in death or like there's some kind of violence or whatever. We were just doing that at uni actually, like the week before the film came out, and kind of talking about that, how it always happens in these type of films. It can never end positively, even if it's not. Now, obviously, I watched Boys Don't Cry last week, which was based on a true story, so it has to end the way that that tragedy ended. But even in fictional stories, there has to be some kind of like vengeful violence against the gay characters. It's always like they have to be punished for even if the film's not like directly homophobic or condemning them or anything. The mere fact that they include in like the violent act against them is some kind of a judgment or critique. And overall, it's just a bit depressing, really. It's like people can fry. Same with like black stories in like the early 90s. It was like, well, why Ice Cube did Friday, which was just like, yeah, black people growing up in a comedic setting rather than always have to be focused on gang violence or anything. It's like, yeah, there are positives to this as well. But I guess, yeah, back to the actual content of the film. What do you think of Billy Eichner? Is a weird one because he's one of them people where I've kind of just taken for I kind of accept he's just really funny, despite not having seen him in anything. Like the only thing he's in that I've seen is Lion King, doing the voice of Timon. But I haven't seen like Billy on the Street. I think it's like the famous like YouTube thing that he did. I haven't seen any of that. Not familiar with anything else that he's done. Like just because everyone says like he's really funny, I kind of just accept he's one of the funniest people in my life. So to actually see him deliver this performance, which also has some good like dramatic stuff as well, particularly one scene we might talk about. But yeah, what do you think of the two leads?
Yeah, so I literally only knew Billy Eichner as Billy on the Street, and that's, I think in my head that's all I know him to do, and I kind of forgot he done Pembury as well. But he has a very distinct voice that you kind of recognise straight away, and I have always known him to be a funny guy, but that's only from Billy on the Street. So watching him be a lead in a film, but also deliver a good performance where it isn't just about like he hits perfectly the rom-com requirements. Like he is quite literally comedic and romantic in the film as well, but also can portray enough emotion where normally if you're a comedian or someone's so funny the whole film, when they try and look sad or give this emotional scene of them going through something, it doesn't work and it looks a bit ridiculous. Whereas his was believable, and yeah, it was quite just impressive to watch. I was quite interested just to see how he would perform in this film, and especially being the lead, he done really well. And then the other main character, is it Luke McFarlane? McFarlane, yeah. I've not seen him in anything else. I didn't recognize him at all. I don't think his performance is as good. I think sometimes his character seems a little bit confused. And there was a few points in the film where I thought the storyline was going to go in a bit of a different direction. Where at first I thought he was maybe closeted with his family because he kept trying to say to Billy to like tone it down and stuff. But it didn't do that, which is quite nice because it's a bit boring to have that storyline probably like all the time. But again, his performance, it was good, and I think you definitely believe the chemistry between him and Billy Eichner. So that's one of the main things you need in a rom-com like this. So yeah, in that sense, I think they've both done quite well.
You know how they have the Hallmarks, I think they call them Hallmarks movies in the film, that like taking the piss. I think it's that the vibe that I get is like Hallmark, which is what they're taking piss out of in America. It's like the kind of films that show up on Channel 5, especially around Christmas time, and it's kind of like TV. It's hard to define like exactly what the aesthetic is, but you could just tell immediately when you turn on one of these Channel 5 movies, it doesn't feel like a proper film. It doesn't feel like either anything like artistic. It's just kind of so generic, so bland. And then I found out after watching the film, that's where Luke McFarlane comes from doing the Hallmark films. That's pretty much it. I don't think he's done much of note outside of that. So I like the how they play with that, like his identity as that guy within the film with the like Hallmarks. So that's another one of the funny like running jokes. Some of the titles. And this was the one I remember is like, "Have yourself a merry little heteronormative Christmas." That was one of them. But there was a lot of them running through. Yeah, I think they had good chemistry. I kind of agree with you, yeah, about his Luke McFarlane's performance. Like certain moments, you're not kind of unsure what his motivations are. It's slightly uneven in moments. His performance, like you don't know exactly what he's thinking. What's the goal here? Like kind of the characterization of him is a bit weak in certain points. But overall, I thought they had good chemistry. He just looks so like perfect as well. He's just like made in like a handsome factory. I don't know. He's just built like a fucking god. It just suits it down to the ground. Compared against Billy Eichner. Now that's obviously like a part of the film is like his like insecurity. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna date guys like me. You're just more like studious and uptight and everything like that. So yeah, but I thought they worked well as a pair. In terms of rom-coms, what's your relationship to the genre? Is this the kind of formulaic nature of this film playing? I like the way it kind of plays with the conventions of rom-com as well. It's kind of like self-aware, like, you know, the bit when they go on like a little trip. I can't remember where they go to. It's really nice. There's a pride parade there.
Provincetown.
Yeah, that sounds right. That whole like sequence, that's like, and they have like the music, they have a little montage of them like walking through the streets and stuff. I feel like that was the most like self-aware. It's like, yeah, can we win a rom-com? We know this is what you want. We've got to have a little montage in here of their like romance flourishing. So did you enjoy like those conventional aspects of the rom-com in this?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I need from these kind of films. Like you said, you have that montage, but then you also have the montage of when you see their relationship progress over time, where they go through the seasons together. It's just easy, but it's also quite warm to watch, and that's what you want from rom-com. At the end of the day, you don't want to be really analytical when you're watching it. You want to just kind of enjoy the love that's on the screen and embrace it really, which I think you get with these kind of montages. But then also, you need those hard hitting moments when they have like the bumps in their relationship, and then you have to see one of the characters like on his knees, like on a big breakup, basically, with the other one kind of just getting on and be looking a bit heartless. And you need those moments. And I'm happy that this film gives you both of those. Like you said, you always have the big contrast of the happy montage, then the sad montage of him crying and watching films. But I like it. And then all of his friends being like, "Oh, you were so happy. What happened?" Like, you need that because like you said, when you watch any rom-com, like one of my favorites is probably Notting Hill. You need that formula, and I feel like Notting Hill, from memory, that happens like two times in the film where they kind of get back together and break up, and then there's an issue and it kind of goes up and down. But at the end of the day, there's no need to reinvent the wheel if it's not broken. And to me, that's the formula you need to make a banging rom-com, and it works just the same with two male characters. And it was quite nice that they didn't need to make one of the male characters like extremely feminine or act like the girl in the relationship, whereas it seemed just a very standard gay relationship. You know, it didn't have to, just because it was two male leads, just it didn't have to make it like basically a female character in order for it to work as a rom-com, which I think has a big impact on the audience watching it, because it proves that there isn't these sort of stereotypes or anything like that. You can just have two gay men in a relationship and not need any of that. So I really appreciate it.
I just remember the scene I think maybe it's just after they break up. Oh no! Oh, but it's when he tries to do like because Luke McFarlane, he thinks Luke McFarlane has like a certain type, the more alpha male kind of guy. So Billy Eichner kind of puts that like front on in the gym to go up to that black guy. Does the voice and everything, and then switches back to his normal voice when they're like in bed the next morning or whatever. And he's like, "What are you doing? What the fuck? Get out!" That's what I like. I think that's happened in rom-coms before, where they kind of like, it's him like learning a lesson. It's like, I don't actually have to be this like alpha male character to fit, like to get with the guy. Like that doesn't actually need to be me. I could be myself. But learning it in like this really like comedic and absurd and funny and kind of awkward way. I don't know. I really like that scene. I just recorded it. I really like that one.
It's the slow-mo of him turning his hat from front to back to be more of like a bro. That's the really funny part of it as well. So that seems really funny actually.
Another important part of the rom-com experience is that supporting group of friends. Sometimes you have like maybe like one best friend, like in My Best Friend's Wedding, or you might have like a whole little ensemble. In this one, you got Billy Eichner's. I guess talk about that as well. Like he's as well as being, he's like a famous like podcaster, kind of media personality, but also is like curating this LGBTQ plus history museum. And that's kind of like a through line throughout the film, trying to get that produces some of the funny moments as well. It does like some of the exhibits that he's trying to get off the ground, and the whole idea of Lincoln being gay and shit like this. Few funny moments, and the was it the tunnel of trauma that rich guy wants to have in, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, that's where his kind of little posse comes from. Those all LGBT people like in real life, those actors, they form his kind of little friendship group. What do you make of them? What do you make of their dynamic as his little troop?
I thought that was great as well because, again, it wasn't forced where each representative of like the LGBTQ plus community was there, and then you had to be educated on each one. They all kind of lean on their own jokes that could be made against them. Like, I really appreciated that. Like, there's one scene, you know, when Billy Eichner has a bit of a breakdown at the museum, and then I don't know who the lesbian lady is, but she looks really familiar. I think I've seen her and stuff before. It's when she's like, lesbians, hold him down. That makes me crease when he's on the floor. And I can appreciate that they just lean on jokes like that. And it seems correct that they are making those jokes because in a way it is a comedy. But also it doesn't feel offensive in the slightest because it's all people from that community playing those roles. And, you know, I feel like they're allowed to have access to those jokes and make jokes about it because they're the ones making it where it doesn't feel offensive. And like you said, you have loads of different representatives in that group. I really like the bi guy. He always just suggests that everyone's bi, and that there's like no bi awareness at all because, you know, lesbians got a month, he only gets a week or something like that. There was just loads of continuous jokes, and I also really liked. I think it was the bald guy. I'm guessing he was non-binary, and it's the way he kept being like, "I see you and I hear you." Each character had their own sort of unique joke that I did play on either that their sexuality or what they sort of represent, but in a good way that, like I've said, it wasn't offensive. And I think it just works really well. And then he also had a few other friends, like you said, he had his sister and his husband and her husband, who he also leans on in the film. And there's little comments that the film makes that are really effective. So like, I think they're talking about anal in front of the kids, and then the parents are like, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter, it's just anal, who cares? Like there's nothing wrong with it," or something like that. And it's just little comments like that that you can appreciate from the director, that they are trying to get a message across, but they're doing it so subtly to the audience that you probably don't even realize that they're normalizing stuff by one or two comments instead of directing something so clearly at the audience where it's like, by the way, this is wrong, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. So yeah, the group, I think it's a perfect group of friends basically. And I think there's only a few films like that where the group of support friends, like you said, are so well written.
To that point as well about like the kind of subtle messages they get across. Like, I like as well with his sister's little boy. I think they say at one point like, did she thinks he's gay or like he's confused or something like that, and it's just kind of like, it's not like a big deal. It's just kind of like normalized. Like, oh, yeah, he could be gay or whatever. Like he just makes his own decisions. Like they don't like hit you over the head with it again. It's just kind of like, it's just there. Like, why does that have to be a big deal? So I feel like that's like the next like step. Even people who are like progressive and like tolerant and everything, when it comes to kids, they're still like, oh no, we shouldn't expose them to that stuff too young. It's like, what do you mean? Like, it's just there's nothing like graphic about it. It's just like another part of life. Why does it matter like what age? Yeah, because that was the whole debate that you talked about earlier with him and Billy Eichner and Luke McFarlane's mum at the dinner table about when she should educate her kids. I think what class was she? What class was she?
Second grade from memory,
which is like year 2, so like 8-year-olds, 7 or 8-year-olds, something like that. That's I feel like that's like the next stage is like, because people can be progressive, but then they're still like resistant to the idea of kids knowing about this stuff. So just having like a little boy who he might be gay, we'll just see what happens. It doesn't really matter. Like he's just a kid. Like who gives a fuck? You can just let him. You can expose him to these different ideas and how people are living in the world, and then he can figure his shit out. And we'll see what happens. Like it's not like a massive deal. So yeah, I do like the way it's very positive, the representation aspects of this film, which is obviously like kind of what we talked about at the top, is like maybe why it hasn't done so well is because people thought, oh, it's just going to be all about that beyond anything else. But it slides all those messages in a way that's like fluid and doesn't affect the overall product, which is just a funny rom-com at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know, have you got any more comments about this film? I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it after I watched Barbarian, then I went straight out Barbarian into Bros. So just a thoroughly enjoyable evening. Barbarian, another interesting film that we could have done this week. But go from that into Bros, and I'm not. Yeah, I just didn't really have. I had no expectations. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, let's see what it's saying. We're doing it on the podcast, see what it's saying, and I just sat there and just had a thoroughly enjoyable 2 hours. I don't know if you've got any more comments about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what I was going into when I watched it. I hadn't seen a trailer or anything like that. I took my little sister, which maybe some of the scenes are a bit wild for a 15-year-old to go see. But other than that, I mean, I say as well, but then I guess this is the whole point of educating it, because if this was 15 and it was a rom-com and it was a guy and 3 girls in some of these scenes, the whole audience would probably laugh and they'd be like, oh, what a guy, it's so funny. Whereas because when it's 4 men, it seems like such a big deal. And even to me, someone who's gay, I was like, well, this is a bit much for my little sister to see, but it shouldn't be. And that's the whole point. So I think the importance of the film is genuinely crazy. Like, I think if this was a film that was out when I was younger, it would have had a massive impact, because the whole point is that it normalizes the whole idea. Can you hear my dog barking?
It does sound like a bark, but yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry. He's homophobic. He's telling me to shut up. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think the impact of this film is just crazy, because, like I said, it normalizes everything, and it makes you realize that you can just have this normal romantic storyline between 2 men, whereas typically, like you said, one of them gets AIDS and dies, and it's just nice that that doesn't happen. But also, it's funny and it's lighthearted, to where if this was the norm, films like this, you could go watch it with your parents and it wouldn't be weird. So I think it's like a progressive step, and I think it's really useful that the film has been done so well and is also funny, because that means that it will last, hopefully. Like, I already want to watch it again. After talking about it with you now, I'd happily watch it again. And I think that's the key thing from it. Like, imagine if this film just wasn't very funny, or if some of the scenes were a bit too in your face, but it's like, we're going to try and educate you on the LGBTQ community. You'd be like, oh God, like, it'd be a bit much. Whereas it's got the balance perfect, where hopefully, yeah, and I think it will just have quite a big impact, really.
Didn't talk about the final scene, which is another, or like the penultimate scene, another crucial aspect of the rom-com, the reconciliation after they've been together, had happy times, have a little hiccup before the climax. But here we have, he's delivering his speech at the opening of the museum. When was it? I think yeah, he texts Luke McFarlane, doesn't he? That he's just at the museum. He kind of says, "Hey, what's up?" Because he had been airing him for a bit because he was still hurting. Then Luke McFarlane, Luke McFarlane. Can't remember what's the character's called.
It's not Billy, but it's something really close to Billy, isn't it?
It's actually.
It's Bobby and Aaron.
Is that their names? That's
Yeah,
I can't imagine. Aaron just doesn't sound right. I can't imagine, like,
Aaron, not at all. Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, what the hell?
Bobby
Aaron
is close enough. Yeah, because he's like, when he gets in the car, he's like, for God's sake, Bobby, blah, 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 like, you just don't stop. Yeah, so I can hear that more. Aaron.
Yeah. I can't imagine hearing Aaron in this context. But anyway, Aaron shows up at this event. Then he sings him a song, so very emotional. Then you have a big speech, as you do in these rom-coms. What do you make of that? The grand finale.
Like I said, it was just what I needed, basically. It didn't, and it's so weird how I think with rom-coms you can so closely tip over into the bit of cringe, and somehow this film doesn't do it for me. Like, I didn't find that scene cringy, or where ultimately him singing should have put like a shiver down my spine, where I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. But he could actually sing, and I also found the song to be quite cute. And the fact that you then, whilst he's singing, you then get a montage of their whole relationship, which is funny because I don't really need a reminder of the last hour and a half, because it's quite clear in my head still. But it just works well. Like I said, you just need these little bits, really. And I also like how you then skip forward 3 months afterwards. I think that's just quite fun to do, because I always want to see where these characters are a bit later on. Like, I wouldn't want it to end with them kissing and then that's it. I need to see where they are in the future. And yeah, it's just classic rom-com stuff.
You mentioned in the like that the montage of their like their whole journey of their relationship. That reminded me of the scene in the park when they're like it seems like they're fighting because he's looking at the guys playing football with their shirts off, and then they start like kind of fighting, kind of play fighting, and then the guys come over thinking, oh wait, hold on guys, stop fighting, and they start lipsing, and they're like, oh okay, fair, cool. That was another really funny moment for me. But yeah, I'd same with the finale. It just hit all the notes. I thought was emotional, still manages to be funny, even like at the peak emotion when they kind of embrace. He has that bit where he bumps into Deborah Messing, who I don't know if you ever watched Will and Grace. I've seen like bits and pieces.
No,
I've never
I don't
watched
know
it like
who she
properly.
is.
Right, okay. But it's like Will and Grace. Will was the gay character. I'm guessing it was quite. I can't remember many sitcoms. There must have been. I'm guessing it was quite revolutionary in terms of like a sitcom with a gay character in the lead and a gay actor. I believe. I think both the two guys were gay. But yeah, so I guess she's like because she's like the gay best friend. I mean, well, the best friend to the gay guy. I mean, so I guess she's like an icon within that community. But the way he like brushes her aside in that climactic moment to get to Aaron still doesn't sound right. To get to Aaron. Yeah, all hit nicely. Yeah, good stuff. People should watch it. I hope it gets more of a, maybe get a bit more of a cult following. Because 11 million is insane for a studio comedy like this. Like this is on the level of, in terms of humor, it's on the level of some of the best ones we've had in the last like 15 years, like Neighbours, Bridesmaids, and stuff that we've talked about. So yeah, I hope people catch it at some point. I think I don't think Ross had seen it. That's why he's not here. Maybe he's going to go see it today or something. We'll see. I reckon he'll enjoy it. Most people will enjoy it. It's funny. It's good stuff. Anything else? Cool.
No, that's me. And if you don't like it, you're homophobic.
Yeah, that should have been the tagline. Stick that on the poster. People appreciate it. At Corona Cinema on Instagram, at LiamWait98 on Twitter, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Stitcher, Podbean. Next episode, big one. Could be the biggest film of the year. See, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Dropping. That's the main review, and then we're doing a couple of animated superhero films in the head-to-head to go with that. The Incredibles and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Until then, go well.
Cheers.